Welcome to Code Freedom. This is your host, Eddie Bales, and this is episode 240. And in today's episode, we're actually going to talk about crisis. Why are we going to talk about crisis? Because guess what? It's inevitable that crisis is going to happen in your life. See, it's not what happens, it's what you do about what happens, right? Because crisis is going to happen to all of us. There were two gentlemen who were supposed to sell, and it was raining. And one person said, hey, it's raining, so I'm going to just stay home since no one's going to be out today. And the other person said, hey, it's raining, so I'm going to go hit it hard because everybody's going to be home and everybody's going to be available, right? It's always about the perspective. The question we should always ask when crisis comes is, what's good about this? I learned that from a mentor of mine who unfortunately passed. But that's will forever be ingrained in my spirit is, hey, what's good about this? Now, of course, it's not fun when crisis comes. And it's not easy to think about what's good when crisis is happening. Right? You get knocked in the mouth. It's not like we're going to say, oh, what's good about this, right? I understand how that can be challenging. But what I'm saying is, I'll give you an example. See, if you plant well in the spring, and then you protect your crops that you planted in the summertime, then you should expect a great harvest. But oftentimes things don't always go the way we planned it, and things happen and crisis happens. And when it does, we can be prepared for it. We can look in the mirror and say, what could I have done better? We can take responsibility. We can take personal responsibility and accountability and say, hey, what could I have done better? Could I have said I love you more often in the relationship? Could I have cut back on the sugar? Could I have exercised a little bit more? Could I have done a little bit more cardio, right? We could always look at what we could have done better, how we could improve. And when we start when we change the things we look at, the things that we look at will change. I'm going to say that again in case you missed it. When we change the things that we look at, the things we look at will change. So when this crisis happens, we start asking ourselves what's good about this. And we can say, hey, I'm willing to take personal responsibility and accountability and say, hey, how can I make this better? Or how can I make it where this doesn't happen again? See, oftentimes when a door closes, another door opens. And oftentimes that door we would have never seen that door open if we hadn't had the one door closed. So sometimes you have to have a door closed. We can see the new opportunity that's ahead of us. So crisis is not always bad. It's not fun, right? Moving isn't always fun, right? When you got to move all your boxes and stuff like that. But of course, moving into a new home can be exciting once you actually take care of the work. And that's the thing. Crisis is just the work. It's just the work. It's like the pain that you have to experience to get the muscle. So see crisis for what it really is. Crisis is revealing yourself. It's revealing you to yourself. Crisis is giving us the opportunity to really do a deep dive and look at ourselves and say, hey, I have some weaknesses I need to really work on. And it's funny because as I'm talking to you all, I'm hearing myself, hey, this is really coming from the spirit within, because I'm even hearing the spirit say some things that I need to work on, right? As I'm talking to you. So just understand that crisis is not always bad, and it doesn't have to be horrible if we can learn from it. In fact, someone said, I never lose, I only learn. So when we start asking what's good about it, we think about learning from it and growing from it. And a good idea is to journal. Because, look, if I were to go back and look at some of my journals from 10 years ago, I could identify some problems that I thought were big problems back then, and now there would be little problems, because guess what? I've grown. Another good idea is to start to journal your crisis that happens. You should journal, period, anyway, in my opinion, because it's a great way to document your journey. It's a great way to see your growth, and it's a great way to really have that self reflection to see where you are in life. So these are just a couple ideas. This is a really, really, really short episode today, but I just wanted to bring this to you as a thought, and I don't want to dilute it. I wanted to say it, let it be for what it is. and you take it how you take it. But just understand this is, as short as this is, it could be so powerful when you really get it and understand that crisis does not have to be a bad thing. One of my mentors says, look, disgust could have a negative emotion but a positive effect, right? It could be the day that changes your life because you draw the line in the sand and say, hey, no more am I going to allow these types of things to happen in my life. It could be a glorious day if you see it that way. But we got to see it that way, and then we'll see it that way, if that makes sense. Listen, guys, I hope you got some value from episode 240 of the Code Freedom Podcast. Listen, if you're on our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe so you can see the videos when they upload live. And then, listen, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Take care. Take charge.